Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, a review guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Gesaffelstein album, Hyperion. So Gesaffelstein, chances are you have heard one of his production credits, one of his beats, one of his collaborations, because he has a very wide repertoire and he's worked with some very high A-list ranking type musicians such as Miss Kitten, Phoenix, Pharrell Williams, The Weeknd, Kanye West, A$AP Rocky. This is his second studio-length album. Yeah. This is the album art. It's as black as this music's soul. It's hard to believe his first studio-length album, Left, came out in 2013, and that was over an hour's worth of music, 14 tracks. This one's only about 40 minutes, and it only features 10 tracks. Some of the experimentation, some of the artistic bells and whistles, and a lot of the experimental industrial house, electronica, the type of stuff that he was really playing around with on his last studio-length album is still here, but it's not here in spades as much as it was on his last project. This one is much more catchy, it's much more accessible, it's much more easy to listen to. That can be a good or a bad thing. Almost every single one of the standouts on the album are the ones where he brings on someone, a vocal feature, on one of his beats. Most of the instrumental cuts on this album are extremely underwhelming, extremely formulaic, not much going on in them, very underwhelming, and they really bog down this track listing in my personal opinion. They're good beats, don't get me wrong. Songs like Hyperion and Reset, which are the two openers, Reset was a single, they're good beats. But what's a good beat if you don't really have anyone on it? If Gesaffelstein would have went the extra mile to get on some great vocal features on these beats, I think that they would have been much better songs for me. But for the most part, they're very boring. There's maybe an occasional part that I just say, ooh, that really pops, that really sticks, but for the most part, they really do bog it down. The only exception of that is Ever Now, and this track has been pissing me off so bad. It's a minute and 38 seconds. One of the best tracks on this album. It's an instrumental, and it sounds something that was pulled straight out of the Vangelis playbook, if anyone knows who that is. It is super spacey, super new age, super foreboding and creepy, very witch housey, and that is a genre that Gesaffelstein has dabbled in the past, so witch house isn't really out of his play zone. It's nothing that he hasn't worked with before, but for here, it seems really to have a high resonance to it. It is super creepy, and it's uplifting, and it swells, and it swelters, and it gets up in this plateau, it reaches this peak, and then it just diminishes and just ends, and I hate that. I wish it was longer, but still a great standout. Lost in the Fire featuring The Weeknd is a low-key banger. Very funky, very nice synth bass notes rolling in the background, and I do like The Weeknd's performance. I kind of wish that he would have shown a little bit more passion because he's in this same little pitch pretty much the entire track, and the vocals are not necessarily the most standout thing. I'd say the beat is. The lyrics are very kind of vulgar and not really something you'd think The Weeknd would do. I mean, well, actually, to be frank, he has played with these type of themes before, but it just seems to be less like resonating now. I don't know. It just seems, even though it's a low-key banger and I do like the beat, The Weeknd's performance could have been better in my opinion, but it's still a good track. Surprisingly, my favorite track on the album is Blast Off featuring Pharrell Williams. He gives his all to this track. He goes all out. The vocal acrobatics he's showcasing on this track is frankly astounding, and I love when he's going high, he's going low, the background vocals are doing cool. He killed it. He went all out. The beat is very soulful, but it's a little bit down-tuned. It's synthy, and it's funky and poppy, and it has such this nice grandeur feel to it. Even though it is simplistic, if you listen to the beat outside of the vocals, like just try to focus on the beat, it is doing a lot of synthy, funky, resonating type of sounds. The artistic bells and whistles and the artistic statement that is on this track isn't going to blow you away, but it's definitely earwormy. And Pharrell, for being someone that I am a little iffy on when it comes to his vocals, I loved his vocal performance on this. So Bad features the band Haim. I hope I am saying that correctly. Indie pop band that I've never really heard of before. Indie pop, indie rock band, dream pop. I've done a little research about them and leading up to this, but I'm not really that familiar with them. But this is a super sensual, super just eerily creepy, ethereal type of songscape. I love this track. It has this sense of eeriness, like the type of thing when you're walking through like the dark winding woods that are like swirling around like a labyrinth and echoing in like through the trunks and the middle ground of these gigantic trees that reach up into the clouds. You are just hearing this soundscape that is swirling like a vortex around your head, and it is just creepy. Anyone else feel that? I just went on a tangent and a half. But yeah, it's a nice track. I love the smooth, silky delivery of the vocalist. It's a great track, and the production is wonderful. One of my favorite productions. It's echoey, it's reverby without being too reverby. It sounds like a ghost is singing to you from the grave about the woes of the world. Humanity Gone could be a nice trailer soundtrack to a Dracula movie. It is 10 minutes and 22 seconds, and it ends the album off, and I'd be lying if I said that this didn't get a little tedious very quickly. It works well as its own track with this organ type sounding creepy, like, sounds like an organ that's being played in a haunted mansion. I know I'm making a lot of, like, analogies and euphemisms, I'm sorry. But it's ringy, it's almost drony in the way it's made. It's not drony in, like, a loud way, but it's drony in the repetition, and it is, enveloping, I will give it that. It is catchy in a lot of ways. It is creepy and invokes this feeling of almost like dread and lonesomeness, but it's still, it gets a little mundane considering the length, and I wish it would have been a better ender, but what can you do? It's a nice composition. It's well assembled. I'll give it that at least. The vocal features save this album in a really good way, and I know I'm shit-talking the instrumental tracks quite a bit, and I'm not meaning to. They are still good compositions. They're well assembled, and it shows his technical prowess. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the vocal feature tracks are standout, and I wish there was a little bit more of that. But on his next album, I just hope to hear more vocal features, some good beats, maybe a little bit more experimentation. But overall, for the vocal feature tracks and a couple of the instrumental tracks, as well as the compositions, this is a nice album. I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. That is a wrap. Have you heard this Gesaffelstein album? If you have, you can let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. Helps me out a lot. And smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. And I will talk to you guys next time. But until then, my name is Jay Morse, Review Guy. And I'm signing off saying farewell.